What's up, YouTube? How's life treating you this morning? It's thrown me a little curveball already. When I woke up this morning, it was extremely cold, and it seems to be getting warmer. And being that there's a nor'easter very close to where I live, it's probably meaning snow's coming sooner or later. Good morning, Selena, Karen, Wax, the Shadow Assassin. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your morning yard stream. Please let me know if you can hear me okay, because I'm using my headphones. So y'all give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly. Good, awesome. This morning, guys, I want to talk about e-cigarettes, and I also want to talk about some audio I heard last night that we all will be hearing together tonight on Derek Jones Talks Live. And it's this young brother, Solace the Wise. And he's versus Sarnetta. Now, I never heard of Solace. I don't know who he is, but I know from what I was hearing on this audio with Sarnetta was about this Sarnetta Award show. I'd love to hear more from him. I don't feel like we hearing enough from him. This is what happens when, like Brother Shabazz said, when you don't think that people are watching what you're doing, when you don't think people are waking up to some of the shit that you're doing, when you think that you could skate through this shit, when you actually think you can skate through this shit without being watched, like you got some special powers. Everybody else goes through scrutiny and criticism when they put themselves out there in a position to be called somebody's leader. Especially when you start doing that. So this is what happens. People start to realize what's going on. People start to realize, like, look, man, it seems to me like you're more interested in doing for yourself with everything that we donate to you when we watch, even as bad as everybody talks shit about churches. Because I'll be one of them people sometimes. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Them preachers ain't stupid enough to not take some of the fucking donations and go pay people's rent. He's not stupid enough to take some of the donations and go help feed people who are hungry. I give them credit for that. They know how to keep that hustle going. They keep it going. The only way it keeps going is because they do actually share. Because if they didn't, they'd be under even more scrutiny than they are now, because most people are under the assumption, like me, that you should be sharing according to your doctrine, the same one I grew up in, like every other black person in America initially grew up in, damn near every other person initially grew up in Christianity. We all know, nigga, you supposed to be giving more, all of that shit to the people. Your mission is supposed to be for the people to be better. So I don't want to hear none of that shit. But the point is, at least they know that that is a requisite to carry on the fuckery and the scam. They know that they must share. They must do good things in the community. That's why people like T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar and all the rest of these niggas, is just as much fuck shit is attached to their name, and cons and all that shit is just as many. That's why they could fall back on charities and contributions to their communities, because they have to actually do something. Because if they don't, it's gonna be openly known that this is a hustle, nigga. You're not doing nothing with the bread but keeping it. Like, that's cut and dry. So when you're dealing with someone like him, this nigga doesn't, like, it's nothing. It's all a fucking act. It's all a hustle. From the word go. And now everyone's realizing that shit, and he's upset about it. He's upset about it. He gave us a clear definition of what he calls a hater. A hater is somebody who points out the shit that he does fucked up and contradictory. Like Sarnetta went on a whole rant the other day on the stream trying to tell people what he meant by saying fuck Africa. Nigga, it's just that type of shit. That type of shit. And the kid Solace was talking to the heart of that. Like, is that type of shit? Is that type of, he's a fraud, nigga. Why the fuck? You should be mad that you're not saying something. We should be looking at you because you're not saying something too. That shit is improper. There's no way we could come and pretend to have some sort of unity when that type of shit is allowed. When you can do that shit and not be penalized for it at all. Welcome everybody who just came in, who has just joined us. This is your morning yard stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream last night. We did. It was Israel, Izzy Doctrine, and Root Night. You know what I mean? We don't often do those two in together, but hey, last night I made an exception. Israel Doctrine was running his mouth again. Anybody who can find me that audio, what he was actually saying. I got the gist of it from a friend in the back who told me, you know, kind of what he was really hinting at. But I want to hear it myself because I love to hear that stupid ass voice. It just gives me more funny material. You know, then I could crack up and make videos and not have to be so serious all the time. Or try not to be. But this morning, guys, on your morning yard stream, we're talking e-cigarette dangers. And we're also talking Solace the Wise versus Sarnetta and that fuck-ass award show that he's determined to try to pull off when I keep telling him it's going to be his downfall. And he's not. He's ignoring all the warning signs like a typical narcissistic asshole does. But just to touch on the e-cigarettes real quick before we finish this asshole. I was hearing this morning about the dangers of electronic cigarettes, and it's gotten to the point where it was allegedly 5 different types of cancer-forming ingredients, if you will, inside the e-cigarettes. Now, I don't know if this is a fact. This is just something that was being talked about heavily on the radio this morning on my way in. So, I know people who use e-cigarettes like every day. So I don't want, if I could pass on information, or if anybody else has any information about it, I'd love to hear it. They could throw it in the comment section, because the combination and what was very interesting about all of it is the combination. They were talking about people who do both, meaning most people who use e-cigarettes are pretty much trying to wean themselves off of cigarettes or no longer use, regular tobacco cigarettes. So the problem is that people still, do both. Well, the doing both seems to be significantly worse than doing regular cigarettes. It's like apparently, because I don't know for sure, but apparently your risk of gaining a heart attack or having a heart attack from cigarettes increases 5 times if you use electronic cigarettes. And especially it goes up even higher if you're using e-cigarettes and you're still smoking regular cigarettes. So I tell you all those right now who still smoke cigarettes, listen, choose one. Either choose, and I'd rather you just, if you're gonna do it, just stay with the conventional uh, uh, cowboy killer. Just stay with the conventional if you're gonna do it, because that electronic cigarettes, they really have not been studied like that. They really have not been investigated. Time has not told how they'll really affect people in constant usage. So, like, this is something that they came up with and they threw that shit out here to the people. That's exactly what happened. So, just be careful, man. Anybody who still does it, hopefully, like me, you could try to quit and that'll be the end of that. But if you're still doing it, please be careful. Um, just be careful. Check into it yourself. Don't take my choppy little talk about it and then just, go off of that. Just kind of check into the shit and make sure you're taking care of yourself as much as possible. So tonight, guys, we're going to go in again. I don't know what time. I'll kind of give you guys a heads up sometimes by starting the live stream 30 minutes later than, after I initially posted, because I want to give you guys a chance to catch up and get there or whatever. But tonight we're going to go in again. We're going to definitely be talking about this Solace versus Sinetta, how the youth are really letting the world know that they're waking up, and people are waking them up, like Brother Shabazz said. And I think that our channels are doing that. My channel is doing that. A couple other people's channels are doing that. And I think that's something that we need to keep doing. Derek Jones Talks Live. It was cool chilling with y'all this morning. It's cold, so I'm going back in the building. That's why this stream is so quick. So peace and love to all of y'all. And Root, once again, since you can't say anything back to me, you're a jackass.